I moved into Willow Ridge because it was supposed to be quiet. That's what the realtor said anyway. Family neighborhood, clean, safe, strong HOA. At the time, those words sounded reassuring. In hindsight, they should have been a warning. Willow Ridge was one of those suburban developments that looked perfect from the outside. Trimmed lawns, matching mailboxes, sidewalks that never had a crack in them. Every house followed the same architectural rules, same paint palette, same fences, same everything. And overseeing it all was the HOA. Now, I've dealt with HOAs before. Parking violations, trash cans left out too long, nitpicky stuff. Annoying, but manageable. This one, though, this HOA didn't just enforce rules, it enjoyed enforcing them. And at the center of it was her. Everyone called her Karen, though not to her face. Her real name was Linda Matthews. She lived 3 houses down from me, drove a white Lexus SUV, and wore that same tight, polite smile that never reached her eyes. The kind of smile that said, I'm being nice because I'm choosing to, not because I have to. She was the HOA board president, and she made sure everyone knew it. One of the perks of Willow Ridge was the community pool. It wasn't huge, but it was clean, gated, card access only. Residents paid for it through HOA dues, which weren't cheap. Every household got 2 pool keys and a laminated rule sheet that read like a legal document. No guests without passes. No food past the picnic area. No loud music. No staying past sunset. Again, annoying but fine. I rarely used the pool. Long hours at work, odd schedule. But on that particular Saturday in July, it was pushing 98 degrees. I figured I'd cool off. I grabbed my pool key from the kitchen drawer, threw on a t-shirt and shorts, and walked down. The pool was almost empty. Just a couple of kids splashing in the shallow end, and one older guy reading a paperback under an umbrella. Quiet. Peaceful. I unlocked the gate, stepped inside, and was about to set my towel down when I heard a voice behind me. Excuse me. Sharp. Controlled. Already irritated. I turned around. It was Linda. She was standing just outside the gate, arms crossed, sunglasses perched on her head like a crown. She looked me up and down slowly, not subtly. Yes, I said. She pointed at my hand. Is that your pool key? I blinked. Yeah. She frowned. I don't recognize you. I almost laughed. I live on Cedar Lane, number 214. She didn't respond, just stared at me like I'd said something suspicious. Which unit? She asked. I just told you. She stepped closer to the gate. We've had issues with unauthorized access, people borrowing keys, renting out homes short-term. I need to see your ID. That caught me off guard. My ID? I said. For the pool? Yes. I looked around. The kids had gone quiet. The older guy lowered his book slightly. I'm not giving you my ID, I said calmly. You're not security. Her jaw tightened. I'm the HOA president, she said, and I'm responsible for maintaining order here. I pay my dues, I replied, same as everyone else. For a moment she said nothing. Then she smiled again, that tight smile. Fine, she said. We'll handle this another way. She turned and walked off. I shrugged it off. At the time, I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. 2 days later, I went back to the pool after work. Same routine, same key. Except this time, when I tried to unlock the gate, it didn't work. I tried again, nothing. I leaned closer. The lock was new. I pulled out my phone and checked the HOA email blast from earlier that morning. Notice, pool access system updated, new keys required. No explanation, no instructions, no timeline. Annoyed, I walked back home and called the HOA number listed in the email. Straight to voicemail. I emailed. No response. The next day, I ran into my neighbor Mark while taking out the trash. Hey, I asked, did your pool key stop working? He nodded. Yeah. Linda said some residents were misusing the pool. She's distributing new keys. When? He shrugged. She gave hers to the board already. Told me to schedule a time. That sounded ridiculous. I emailed again. Nothing? 3 more days passed. Then I got a knock on my door. I opened it to find Linda standing there, and a man beside her. He was tall, broad shoulders, short haircut, wearing a polo shirt with a small police department logo stitched over the chest. This is my husband, she said, Officer Matthews. He didn't smile. Sir, Linda continued, you've been flagged as non-compliant with HOA pool regulations. I stared at her. Flagged? You were unable to produce identification when requested. That's a violation. No, it's not, I said. You don't have the authority. Her husband stepped forward slightly. Ma'am, he said, holding up a hand, then turned to me. Sir, My wife has received multiple complaints. About what? I asked. Unauthorized access, he said evenly. I live here. He nodded. That's what you say. Something about that made my stomach tighten. I want my pool key, I said. I paid for it. Linda crossed her arms again. You'll get it when you comply. With what? She tilted her head. Verification. I looked at the badge on her husband's shirt. Are you threatening me? I asked. He exhaled slowly. We're trying to avoid escalation. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about a pool anymore. This was about control, and Linda had decided I was the one resident she could push. She was wrong. She just didn't know it yet. After Linda and her husband left my porch, I stood there for a long moment with the door still open. The neighborhood was quiet, too quiet. No sirens, no raised voices, just the hum of sprinklers and the distant sound of someone mowing a lawn. And yet my heart was pounding, because what had just happened wasn't normal, not even by HOA standards. A pool key dispute doesn't end with a police officer standing on your porch implying you don't belong where you live. I closed the door and sat down at my kitchen table, replaying every word in my head. That's what you say. That line stuck with me. The next morning, I started documenting everything. Dates, times, emails, screenshots of unanswered messages, HOA notices, names. I requested a copy of the HOA bylaws, the full version, not the summarized pamphlet they handed out when you moved in. Buried deep in the document, under Common Area Access, was a clause that stood out. The HOA board may not revoke or suspend access to shared amenities without written notice, cause, and an opportunity for appeal. None of that had happened. No notice, no explanation, no appeal. So I sent a formal email. Polite, professional, calm. I cited the bylaw. I requested my pool access be restored or a written explanation provided within 5 business days. I CC'd the entire board. Within an hour I got a response. Not from the board. From Linda. Your tone is inappropriate. Continued resistance may result in further action. No explanation, no acknowledgement of the rules. Just a threat. 2 days later, I was unloading groceries when I heard her voice again. Sir. I turned to see Linda standing on the sidewalk with 2 board members behind her. Both looked uncomfortable. One wouldn't make eye contact. We need to talk, she said. I prefer this in writing, I replied. She scoffed. This isn't a negotiation. Neighbors slowed as they walked past, pretended not to listen, very clearly listening. You've been refusing to cooperate, she said loudly. That raises concerns. About what? I asked. My pool key? About your behavior, she snapped. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was surreal. My behavior has been emailing you. Her face flushed. One of the board members finally spoke. Linda, maybe we should... She cut him off with a sharp look. This resident has been flagged, she said, for non-compliance. There it was again. Flagged. Like I was a problem file, a nuisance, something to be handled. I want that in writing, I said. What exactly am I accused of? She leaned closer. You don't want to make this difficult. I looked around at the neighbors watching from their driveways. Too late, I said. That night at 9:17 p.m., there was another knock. This time it wasn't just her husband. It was a patrol unit, 2 officers. They were polite, professional, clearly uncomfortable. We received a call about a disturbance, one said. I blinked. A disturbance? Yes, sir, HOA complaint. I stepped outside so my neighbors could see. There's no disturbance, I said calmly. I've been home all evening. The officers exchanged a glance. May we come in? One asked. I shook my head. Am I being detained? No. Then no. They nodded. One officer cleared his throat. Sir, off the record, this seems like a civil matter. I agree, I said. They left. But the damage was done. Linda had escalated, and she'd used her husband's badge to do it. The next HOA meeting was standing room only. People don't usually attend those things, but word had spread. Police visits, pool bans, intimidation. I sat in the back and listened. Linda ran the meeting like a courtroom. She spoke fast, confident, dismissive. When open comments began, I raised my hand. She ignored it. I raised it again. She sighed dramatically. Fine. I stood. I want to know why my pool access was revoked without notice, I said. Murmurs rippled through the room. She smiled thinly. For security reasons. What reasons? I asked. You refused identification. That's not a rule, I replied, and you know it. Her husband was sitting in the front row. Watching me, I continued. I've also received multiple police visits initiated by HOA complaints. I'd like to know why. That's when she lost control. "You are aggressive," she snapped. "You are uncooperative, and frankly, you're making people uncomfortable." There it was. The character attack. The room went silent. I took a breath. "For the record," I said evenly, "I am documenting everything said here tonight." Her eyes widened just slightly. After the meeting, 3 neighbors approached me quietly. "She did this to us too," one whispered. "Not the pool," another said. "Parking." "Police came to my door," a third admitted. "For nothing. It wasn't personal. It was a pattern." The following week, I made a call I hadn't planned on making. Internal affairs. I didn't accuse. I didn't exaggerate. I presented facts. Dates, names, emails, calls, body cam incident numbers. Then I waited. 2 weeks later, Linda's husband stopped showing up to HOA events. A month later, Linda stopped sending threatening emails. Then came the certified letter. An external audit of HOA practices. Mandatory cooperation. Suddenly, the board wanted to resolve things amicably. My pool key arrived in the mail with no note. No apology, just silence, which told me everything. The final HOA meeting of the year was different. Linda wasn't there. The vice president announced her resignation due to personal reasons. Her husband had been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Later, a neighbor forwarded me the public record. Misuse of law enforcement resources, conflict of interest, intimidation, all documented. No dramatic arrests, no TV moments, just consequences. Quiet, permanent consequences. As for me, I swim whenever I want now, and every time I unlock that gate, I think about how close power comes to being abused, and how important it is to push back calmly, legally, and without fear. Because sometimes the scariest people aren't criminals. They're the ones who think rules don't apply to them.